April 2nd, 2025, regular planning board meetings called to order. This is advised that the notice of the time, date, location, and to the extent known, agenda of the subject meeting was prominently posted in the public place reserved for such or similar announcements on March 25th, 2025, transmitted to the Times, the Princeton Packet, and West Windsor and Plainsboro News on March 25th, 2025, and filed with the Township Clerk on March 25th, 2025. Chris, please call the roll.
Mr. Lavara,
Yes.
Mr. Shacktown,
Here.
Mr. Hancock, Mr. Dave, Ms. Barry. Yes. Ms. Applegate. Here. Councilman Whitfield. Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Golden.
Here.
Chairman Park.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public for public comments on any non-agenda, non-pending item, please. Please step up to the microphone, state your name, address for the record. Okay, nobody stepping up. Next up is minutes from October 16th.
Looking on for the next meeting, which is
Okay.
going to be May 7th.
Okay. Then I guess, the March 19th minutes, not including the closed session. Are there any, changes, mods, let it be known Mr. Bay came in, is here. Any changes to the 19th, March 19th minutes? These are the open session, public session. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the March 19th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
Moved by Jordan, second by the mayor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. One abstention by Alan. And Sue is abstained.
And then.
And Annis, yep. And Alan, yes. 3 abstentions, Sue, Annis, and Alan. Thank you. Okay, next up, resolution PB 19-13, Second Amendment, senior living at Bear Creek. Jerry, you want to kind of summarize?
Yeah, this is the second amendment to a previously approved project.
Mr. Chairman, a quick note. Did you approve the closed session minutes also for the
The
19th?
closed session minutes I do not have.
They were in your packets.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jerry, hold off, please.
Sure.
Are there any changes? I got, the mayor gave me his copy. I didn't have them in my copy, packet, I don't know why. I'll entertain them. Does anybody have any changes to the closed session? Not that we can make them here, but please don't, announce them, but say that you want to make a change. Anybody? No, okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes. Moved by the mayor, second by Annis. Yeah, you are in here.
I'll second them.
Second by Curtis. All in favor, say aye. So we're gonna have the same people, Sue, Annis, and Alan are abstaining. Thank you. Okay, now Jerry, PB 19-13, Second Amendment.
Yes, this is a part of our affordable housing plan. And we had previously approved a design for this, the congregate care portion of Bear Creek, which is connected basically to the assisted living, which is already built. And they've come in for a couple of amendments. The most recent one, they wanted to upgrade the site as much as the design as much as they can, emphasizing as they did that the market has become very tough for these kind of assisted living, age restricted units. So they came in with more parking. There were a series of other suggestions, changes that they wanted to make, and they were all laid out on page 4, paragraph 12 of the resolution. There were two waivers that were necessary. One was for tandem parking for the garages, which they've now proposed, 2 garages to serving 12 cars each. And also increasing the number of parking spaces above what clearly wouldn't be not needed, but they wanted to make sure that they had enough spaces that potential residents would be attracted. They also did some redesign to the buildings. There is now underground parking under the main building, and that kind of pretty much is a summary of the resolution.
Okay. Anybody have any changes or clarifications on the resolution that need to be brought up? Nope. Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution PB 19-13, second amendment, senior living at Bear Creek. Moved by Jordan, second by the mayor. Please call the roll.
Mr. Patel.
Yeah.
Mr. Lavaro.
Yes.
Mr. Schectel.
Yes.
Mr. Baig. Ms. Barry. Ms. Applegate.
Abstain. Mayor, actually, I have to abstain. I wasn't.
So you're up to Sue abstained. Annis is abstained.
Ash was there.
Okay, I'm sorry, Annis said, yeah, he said, yes, you said yes. Rob is gonna abstain.
Ms. Barry.
Yes.
Mr. Schectel. And Mr. Patel was yes, right? Vice Chairman Hoberman
Abstain.
and Chairman Cart.
Yes. Okay, resolution is approved.
Oh, Mayor Marte,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay,
And I wasn't, you were there, I was.
okay. One note before we move on. For the closed session meeting minutes, don't leave them out here. Oh, where do you want them? Back in your yellow folder?
Just give them to me.
Give them to you or put them back in the folder? Okay, so don't leave them out. Just,
February 19th meeting, I was here.
March 19th.
For March 19, including minutes for February 19, and under that, this was, shown, yeah.
Okay.
I was here February 19th.
Yeah, but you weren't here on March 19th when we approved the meeting minutes. Right?
We were here on February 19th, correct?
Right, but
That resolution is adopting the approval from February 19th, so you could vote on the resolution.
right. Okay, Sam here.
So when the cases are settled, it will be public, all cases are settled.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so next up is the master plan public hearing, adoption of amendment to land use plan element RP 9 district, and adoption of amendment to Princeton Junction redevelopment plan RP 9 district.
Okay, I suppose that's me. Good evening, everybody.
Do you want to, Sam, do you want to put on the record that
And she gets,
that notice?
is my office posted the minutes or the master plan revisions on the website. We also sent copies to the county planning director and the state advocacy group, and the surrounding municipality clerks were notified of this hearing tonight and also received copies of the documents.
Thank you.
And I should probably get sworn in. Right?
Yeah, we should. It's formal hearing. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
So sworn.
Good evening, everybody. My name is David Novak, Novak for the record, with Burgess Associates, the township planning consultant. Tonight, we'll be talking about a couple of documents. The first would be the RP9 Land Use Plan Amendment dated March 11th, 2025. And then, not so coincidentally named, the RP Redevelopment Plan Amendment, also dated March 11th, 2025. I will start with the Land Use Plan Amendment. Essentially, what this document is an amendment that would supplement the the township's 2020 land use plan element of the master plan. I've given this spiel many times before, but essentially what a master plan is, as this board knows, is a comprehensive, long-term strategic document, which is intended to guide the growth and development of the community. So I think about it as a roadmap. It lays out where a community currently is and where it wishes to go in the future. Master plan is responsible for developing the general parameters around where development is supposed to occur and at what intensity and at what uses. This is a land use plan amendment. As I mentioned, will supplement our 2020 land use plan, and is very specifically concentrated on a small portion of the township, specifically near the intersection of Princeton Heightstown Road and Wallace Road. This is the site that is the bus depot site, essentially. The reason for this is because the township has also prepared a redevelopment plan and accompanying ordinance. And what we always like to make sure is that our master planning documents and our redevelopment plans and our zoning ordinances are all synced together, so that way they're consistent with one another. So the purpose of this land use plan amendment is to essentially set the stage for the redevelopment plan, which we'll be discussing next. This land use plan amendment proposes to take the existing land use category of these three properties, which, for the record, are identified as block 59 lots 1, 2, and 3, and proposes to change the language regarding the land use category for that. So right now, the site pursuant to our 2020 land use plan is located in the RP9 Princeton Junction Redevelopment Plan District. Well, that name is not going to change. However, the text associated with that will change. When you read the text that is right now associated with the vision of the RP9 district, it is a little bit open-ended. It discusses that the RP9 district's intent is to convert the former bus depot site into an area that would better serve the public, consisting of commuter parking for the Princeton Junction train station adjacent to a public park. I'm sorry, that's what we're proposing. The existing language says that the intent of this is to convert the existing bus depot into an area that would better serve the public, which would consist of a public park mirroring the PNC Corner Park with land set aside for Wallace Road improvements, as well as a pedestrian and bicycle access to a crossing of the rail line at the Princeton Heightstown Road Bridge. That's what the existing language says. And then the bulk standards in that section are very open-ended. It basically sets it's subject to a redeveloper's agreement. The amended language is a little bit more specific. It's still looking to convert the former bus depot site, but looking to convert it into an area that would better serve the public, consisting of commuter parking for the Princeton Junction train station, adjacent to a public parking, mirroring the PNC Corner Park on township land set aside for Wallace Road and Princeton Heightstown Road improvements. It's also envisioned that in order to promote a more efficient use of land, to have some sort of shared parking arrangement be permitted. Finally, it's anticipated that the subject site can also be utilized as a gathering event for community functions, including but not limited to food trucks, swap meets, flea markets, and art showings. So essentially, this amended master plan language is looking to establish commuter parking at this site, that when that parking is not being utilized, can also be utilized for community events such as food trucks or swap meets or flea markets and art showings. And it still keeps that vision of having that park that would mirror the PNC park. So that is essentially the crux of this draft land use plan amendment. It's very narrow in focus. Its focus is solely on this site, and it essentially sets the stage for a redevelopment plan, which we'll be discussing next.
What was the impetus for this?
I banged my hands on the table. No, I think it was something that was brought to us by the parking authority, right, Sam?
Yeah, Parking Authority is working with the township council, and the developers agreement. The Parking Authority will remove the building that's there. There's contamination under site. They're looking for grants to mitigate that. And then they will be coming in front of the planning board at a courtesy review. They will be putting the final site plan approval. So within the next month or two, with their concept plan showing how we're going to lay out the parking, how we're going to develop this, the site, the parking, and all the amenities that are going to.
I mean, I had a feeling that's what the impetus was.
Yeah, right.
What about
The
across?
mayor may have more information.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been trying to do something about the sites for a long time. The buses were kicked out, so nothing works.
How many years have the buses been away from that site?
20 years.
At least before 2017.
1985.
Nineteen
Well,
eighty-five.
1985 is when Public Works was there. They left in 1985.
Okay,
And then the town leased it to the school district, and they had their buses there. It's probably been, God, a good 15 years since they've been.
okay, yeah, because it's been a while.
And they were kicked
Right.
before 2016.
Okay.
What about across the street? What's going on with that?
Ellsworth Center,
No, the other one, on,
the west side of the tracks.
yeah, Schlumberger, maybe.
Oh. They have contamination also.
Oh, okay. Once they finish the cleanup, they're gonna put it up for sale. That's a big site for the,
2/3 of it's environmental constrained wetlands. Also in one of the buildings. over there
Washington
next
Road,
to
on
Caldwell
Chris Dyson.
Banker. That's part of it.
Oh, yeah, they do. So I'll ask a similar question to Michael's. Is there any another adjacent property, the power station, is there is there any future in the power station there?
generates power.
No, but I meant, is it, I mean, it's, no, I know, but I'm wondering, I thought at one point in time with the redevelopment that was going to go away.
No, I don't see that.
I don't see that
When
happening.
that's.
That's still there, and it still serves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very enlightening use.
They actually painted.
But wait, very well.
And I said enlightening use, and nobody laughed. The other thing I just want to bring up too, I'm sorry, is the county is in the process of preparing plans for Princeton Heights Town Road, that bridge crossing the train tracks. And that will include better pedestrian connectivity. So I just wanted to throw that in because our land use plan currently talks about pedestrian connectivity from this site across the bridge. The county, however, is preparing plans that will hopefully improve pedestrian connectivity across that bridge, or on the bridge across the railway as well. So I just wanted to,
Replacement of such bridge or just
I think there's an,
allotting the lane?
Two things,
Yeah.
right outside the door, you can see the plans on what the county's gonna do in the junction.
Mhm.
But does that include the bridge in this plan?
And then the state is gonna be replacing that bridge.
It's right,
raising it about 6
that's the
inches.
state road, not the county road.
That's the state, and that'll be probably
That
2030,
point three
2031.
tenths of a mile.
I remember that from the transportation
Will it be
element.
alive at that time?
2030, 2031.
Maybe not.
Michael, you'll still be chair.
My God.
I'll still be chair.
Walgreens is on that corner?
No.
You haven't heard anything from them?
I'm just hoping they don't close that one.
Talking about that
electric
substation. Electric substation, thanks.
Was Route 31, our road, and it's built a new electrical substation.
Right.
You can't get over how they swing. It's pretty amazing.
Really? Would they like fencing or landscaping?
It's very, very nice fencing with walls and the shrubbery. It's worth taking a photo.
Where was it again?
It's Route 31 and now road.
Okay.
From the west side.
Or can we sink it underground and build on top of it?
Well, that's the way it almost looked like the ground stone. Flash Desert. Well,
Oh, should I do that now? All right.
Want to have David finish on the
Yeah,
redevelopment?
please.
and then Any questions?
Okay.
Sure.
So the next area, so as I mentioned, this is also setting the stage for a redevelopment plan. And this would be an amendment to the Princeton Junction redevelopment plan. Again, keeping that RP9 district still intact, but changing the permitted uses there. So we are essentially establishing a purpose of this district that would mirror the language in the land use plan amendment, which is again, to convert that bus depot site into an area which would better serve the public, consisting of commuter parking for the Princeton Junction train station, adjacent to a public park, mirroring the PNC corner on a park on township land set aside for Wallace Road and Princeton Hightstown Road. And then again, allowing for a shared parking arrangement on the site, as well as permitting the site to be utilized as a gathering space for community functions, including but not limited to food trucks, swap meets, and flea markets and art showings. So we do establish a number of permitted uses within the district to help meet that intent. Public park uses, mechanisms intended to screen or enhance visual attraction of the power station. That's actually a use that's currently in that district right now. Off-street parking, training facilities for public transportation providers, because again, the parking authority will be establishing this in the, we'll call it the first 2/3 of the site. In the very back, there's still a training facility, which is still active. So that's not necessarily going away right now. Monument signage would also be established as a permitted principal use, as well as street furnishings, planters, street lights, and exterior garden type shade structures like gazebos. The district establishes a fairly high maximum improvement coverage of 90%. That's higher than our typical redevelopment districts. However, it's important to keep in mind that this is essentially establishing a parking area. We based the parking and circulation aisle setbacks based on a concept plan that was prepared. That concept plan will eventually be presented to the planning board for a courtesy review. From Wallace Road, there's a setback of about 18 feet. That's where you'll be able to get your most landscaping. From Princeton Hightstown Road, it's a setback of 2 feet. That seems very narrow. However, you have to remember that that roadway is being expanded, and there's also quite the slope that goes up there too. So it will be still relatively buffered from that roadway. From all other district boundary lines, a minimum setback of 5 feet. And we also allow for improvements to extend into the remaining Old Washington Road right-of-way, which extends through the site. And we also established some guidelines for landscaping. So the developer will be responsible for providing and constructing at their cost a public park, which is going to mirror that PNC corner park on township land, again, set aside on Wallace Road and Princeton Hightstown Road. Based on our estimates, that public park will comprise a minimum area of 6,000 square feet, and it needs to include at least a shade structure, such as a gazebo, but it could be any type of shade structure, a seating area, and we established at least 4 picnic tables and chairs are similar appurtenances. And also street furnishing such as planters, refuse containers, and decorative thematic lighting shall be provided. So making sure that that park is going to have seating areas for the Princeton Junction corridor as that area continues to get developed, having that outdoor amenity space for people to be able to utilize, or for commuters that are using that parking lot that may not want to rush home right away, maybe enjoy a snack or something outside of the area. We're also allowing for monument signage. Those standards, for the most part, mirror our monument sign standards established in other districts. And creating a allowance for shared parking arrangements for a future redevelopment district that may be in the works as well. Should the board adopt the land use plan amendment, this plan would be consistent with that land use plan amendment as well. And that is essentially it as a brief overview of this redevelopment plan amendment.
That's a question.
Mhm.
Can you describe the financial aspect of this site? Like who owns the land? Like what's the revenue? How's the revenues going to the town?
Well, the township owns the land.
Okay.
Township. I don't believe we have an agreement with the Department of Public Health.
We are trying to work that out because the township is eligible to get because it's contaminated, township is eligible to get reimbursement from the state if we clean it up.
Okay.
So depending on how much reimbursement we get, we will make a deal with the parking authority. So that it's not going to be a huge revenue generator.
Okay.
Main aim is to make that area look nice, looks bad.
Right, but if you have an area that's kind of semi getting developed, you know, we want a positive cash flow for the town.
Yeah, so. it will-
Whatever, I mean, whatever it is, it is, you know, it is.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to one drive lot. It's going to be on similar ground, but once we get a better idea of all the finances, we will work out a deal with it.
What type of contamination you have in the site? The contamination type, what type you have?
That, what contamination is there?
I believe the contamination comes from the Schlumberger property across the street, and also from the old dry cleaners that used to be on the Ellsworth site. It's reached underground under the road.
Why aren't they paying for it?
Excuse me?
Or why aren't they not paying for remediation?
You know, like, I don't know those details. It's really handled from Frank's division.
Okay.
That township asked those who are floating right now.
I mean, when it goes underground, I mean, the dry cleaner closed, he sold the building to Ellsworth, he's gone. Ellsworth Center Drive. When it's underground, it's very tough to prove where it's coming from
Right.
over the years, and who knows how many years it's going on.
Okay.
So my question's going in a whole different direction.
No.
Is there gonna, on this tract, is there gonna be vehicular access from Wallace Road?
I believe it would solely be from Wallace Road.
Oh, so here's my point.
Mhm.
The Wallace Road frontage is only 70 feet. And it's 70 feet from the Princeton Heights Town Road.
Mhm.
How close to the intersection can you have an entry into a property like this?
You certainly don't want it that close. Unfortunately, I don't have the concept plan scaled out. I believe we did have some preliminary TRC meetings on this when they had submitted a concept plan.
Right.
And I believe that was one of the comments that was brought up to move and shift that driveway further away. So I believe that had been reviewed by,
By our traffic engineer.
yes.
The TRC has met with parking authority on numerous occasions before we got to this point. The township council and the mayor wanted to know how many parking spaces would be there, what
Right.
it looked like, so they have all of that. The parking authority will be submitting their plans to the TRC once again.
And TRC can deal with that issue at the appropriate time.
Yeah, no, but that was a very important thing that was brought up, I believe, right away, even in terms of how the driveway, would kind of release on the Wallace Road as well.
Can cars back up onto, all the way to Washington, Prince Hightstown Road?
And no, it would be a solely on Wallace Road, and it'd be essentially let me get my clockwise right here. That's a digital clock. It'd be a counterclockwise.
Isn't there an entrance right off Princeton Hightstown Road, you make a left and then a right into the site?
You would make, if you're heading westbound on 571, you make a left on Wallace and then an immediate right on the side.
Yeah, but let's say cars are right by the entranceway, won't it back up?
I don't think it will. The reason being is there's a lot of circulation aisles, so
So it's wide, it's very wide, so cars can go around, or it just seems like,
no. When I say it's a lot of circulation aisle, I mean more linear length, right? So when you filter in, you will be making a right into the site, yielding right, and then it's a linear path going up with parking spaces along either side.
okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be a one way.
But what about food trucks or whatever is gonna be at kind of like where those are gonna be near this entrance or like?
Oh, I would imagine if there's a community event there, that would essentially be closed off except for those food trucks or something like that.
So
People
you
would
have
have
to
to park.
walk into that?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All that spelled out with the township council. My understanding of speaking to the group who's had a parking authority was that the parking lot would only be used for commuters Monday through Friday, and Saturday it wouldn't be. That would allow food trucks and other public events to take place.
Mhm.
The main reason for the food trucks and the picnic area, so to speak, is we have a lot of apartments that are under construction.
Yeah.
Both retail on the east side of 571. So those folks
They
would have
could
an
walk home.
opportunity to have a place to come out, or keep
Right.
either shopping or eating in the restaurants, have takeout,
Mhm.
and have an area to go. And then also when the food trucks are there, you could walk over to the picnic areas.
Right, or you
Yeah.
could, let's say you park in the Wallace Road lot, it's free on the weekends, and you walk around, go
Yeah.
to the public square, and then go to the food trucks. Bring your food from the food trucks over to the public square.
And it also gives folks who come into the restaurants on the east side of the tracks
Mhm.
to be able to park there and walk over if there isn't sufficient parking elsewhere.
But,
I'm sure TRC will deal with it, but I hope there's provisions for shading. Because, you know, in the heat of summer, that's not gonna be a very pleasant
That's-
space at all.
There's a plan, I keep calling it a gazebo, but it's a shelter. a roof shelter.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's great, thank you.
And they will have to submit a landscaping plan.
Yeah, right,
And-
of course.
is that Chinese food restaurant still there in that house?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Man, did they luck out, huh?
they're still there.
Still with that. They held up, they held up.
Same owner,
Which building we talking about?
that's across the track.
Oh, right,
No,
right.
no, it's friendlies or.
On the other side. of the-
Yeah,
Asian,
it's-
yeah, by
Yeah.
by the
They're-
turn of Station Drive, Asian Bistro.
Yeah, they're still there, yeah. Korean, it's a Korean,
Was it? They hung on and it seems like they hit the jackpot.
So, Dave, a document issue?
Yes.
Page 7 of the redevelopment plan amendment. 2.3,
Yep.
error reference source not found.
Oh, look at that. I'm gonna blame Microsoft Word for
You
that.
see what I'm saying?
Yep, I see exactly what you're saying.
Just,
The
you know,
the link didn't work.
Yeah, the link didn't work. You
It's-
can't link there.
Same thing happens to me occasionally.
Okay.
I
Anybody?
would just indicate that in your discussion with the parking authority when they come in, that you really should take a look at that substation in Pennington and see if any of those elements could be incorporated. Because I gotta tell you, I've been around for a long time, but that was the basest thing I've ever seen.
It is not the nicest looking substation I've seen either.
Keep in mind too, the substation isn't part of.
I know, but in terms of a buffer, you could actually
Learn from it.
run along that one boundary with it. And that would do a lot to break up the view of it from the highway from Wallace Road.
Yeah, we can keep that. We can definitely keep that in mind during the TRC process, like especially along here. And along there too, yeah. Yep.
Anybody else? Anybody? Okay. Yep. Okay, at this time, I would like to open up to the public for any comments on the land use element and the redevelopment plan for the RP9 district. Please step up to the microphone, say your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Ann Clifton, 18 Galston Drive.
Yeah, and I'm going to swear you in. If you can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth?
Yes, I
So
do.
I just want to affirm. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm speaking for the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance. Trustees of the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance do not believe that additional parking for the train station is necessary. Today, in the middle of the work week, between 1:30 and 2 p.m., there was no shortage of parking. Only about 100 cars were parked in the lower Vaughan lot and 57 cars in the unpaved Alexander lot. Adding more train station parking spaces at the RP9 district will lead to more conflicts for motorists, bicyclists, and pedestrians on Wallace Road during peak commuting hours, creating more opportunities for collisions. Why add to the chaos that already exists? As it is now, drivers routinely wait or park in the bike lane during the evening rush hour, a situation that one of our board members who couldn't attend tonight experiences when he bikes into Princeton after work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So our alliance is not in a position to recommend alternative uses for the RP9 district. However, we suggest, seeking input from others in the community, in particular from small business owners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to address why we're putting parking there? I know what the answer is, but I want to.
Yeah, I mean, Sam and I probably met with so many people there trying to do something, and nothing has worked out and nothing even went to first base. Forget about somebody established escrow. That site is very constrained as this thing, and I don't think too many people will park there during the weekdays, but in weekends, if they really do get the food trucks and stuff, that will become a nice place for the community.
Right, so what I'm hearing is, and I think it helps with the remediation. Right?
Right now, my understanding is the grants that are available, but only available, it's public use on the property, not if it's a private use. If the town wanted to sell that property, any developer would have to take care of applying for whatever, using whatever loan they have. And also there's a right of way through the property to gain access to the back piece that Amtrak owns for their training facilities.
Okay.
So that also concerns.
So a couple things I'm just going to summarize here. The property is constrained. The parking situation allows for public use and also does, because it's covered, it remediates the site, right?
Basically, they're capping.
It's capping the site. 3, I hear that, and I definitely agree because I used to park there. I don't think anybody's going to park there. Right? Because it's further away from the daily lot, right? To get to the, the platform of the train station, right? Even the Wallace Road lot by permit is mostly empty, where I had a 7-year wait when I first came to town. So I hear the public's, view. But if we could find something else, like the mayor was saying, he was going to try to find, they were trying to find something. But I think it's just going to be paved, but there's not going to be any cars there, is what I think.
And I would just add one more thing too. What this redevelopment plan would allow for is a shared parking arrangement with the Ellsworth Center. So if you remember a couple months ago, or maybe it was last year, memory of time is gone, but there was a concept plan presentation to add additional units there. And obviously the big concern regarding the
parking.
Ellsworth Center is always parking.
I remember saying that the market will dictate, right? And if they don't have enough parking, guess what? People are not going to rent.
And this might be
You remember?
a
We don't
potential-
have to go back to the minutes for that. I remember saying that.
and this might be a potential overflow should that be, an issue. This would allow for a shared parking arrangement with that site. So,
Okay.
so just trying to utilize land most efficiently as we can. So
Now-
obviously not
now
parking lot,
where-
not the most exciting use.
Where are we going to put the snow? That's why I want to know where the snow is going to go.
That would be a question of the department.
Okay.
It'll be on the Amtrak property.
But there, conversation one time about a tunnel going under there, so the people could walk back and forth. That happened for a long time.
No, they were going to widen the tunnel.
I don't remember an application.
Not-
I do remember like in the late 80s, early 90s, there was talking about additional tunnels.
But under the bridge, so the people.
Yeah, but not
from the
there.
Ellsworth site could get to that area. And the
Oh,
police
yeah.
station safe.
Or over where Carnival used to own property on, next to the Asian bistro, over that.
On the other side of the track.
Between the tracks and the parking. But there wasn't sufficient space there and tried to move about.
So were those conversations that Sue's alluding to prior to the reconstruction of the station house? The main NJ Transit station there?
It was after.
Because they added a tunnel at that point.
It was after that, but before the Princeton Junction redevelopment plan. If
Right.
You remember, you were on the zoning board long enough to remember when you had the overlay zone in Princeton Junction.
Uh-huh.
It was discussion during that time.
Okay.
I remember discussion where the existing tunnel is going to be widened and maybe lease out commercial space.
I do know that the parking authority has hired their engineering consultant to take a look at, because I know there's water issues in the tunnels. So I do
It was
understand.
one year, it was several years ago where the water was almost up to the ceiling
I
there.
remember seeing those pictures. Yeah.
About a tunnel to the railroad.
Why?
Not the railroad.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Not the railroad station.
Wow, that they want
Under
a
the
new
bridge.
tunnel for the crossing on the west to east, on the north
think
of
it was
the,
when
on
Carrera
the
came in.
west of the,
Okay, one
Some
conversation at a time. I'm sorry.
My recollection was a commuting, okay, that's a long time ago, that they planning a tunnel, walking tunnel, of course, to cross the track on the west side of the main station, okay? Because this all only on the east side, okay? So that is some people, when I used to walk, I have to walk a long distance from the front of the train. But that's what they're planning at that time, I remember.
Oh, near the front? Yeah, I think I remember. Sue, I'm sorry.
No, I just think if there was a way for people to get through there, those people from Ellsworth Center are gonna use that parking. But if they have to cross.
Yeah, the road,
bypass
yeah.
and Heights Center,
They're not
it's
gonna
go
use it.
there.
Unless that's the only parking available because they don't have enough space.
It's a signal. Light. It's a signalized, clearly marked pedestrian crossing.
Yeah, but people come over the bridge, it's dangerous. People come over that
That's why
bridge.
you're supposed to cross
It's
at the
not-
green.
Even developing that site. is
Yeah.
Another detriment to that area, I think. But I can-
Well, it is an eyesore, so I guess any improvement
I
maybe.
agree. Something should be done.
I don't think it's gonna generate a lot of traffic. I mean, it'll be walking traffic, I think, if anything.
It just worries me to increase pedestrian
Yeah.
access to that site if there was another use. I don't know.
Well, they may have to change the signal there, put a pedestrian like flash there.
If everybody watches it. Then watches.
Coming over coming back from Washington Road over the bridge and then. It's a little tough.
Yeah,
Red light.
David.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
on the back two, the battery should identify lot 1 and 2 and 3.
Wait, map two?
What section? I don't know which one, lot 1, lot 2 and 3.
Labeling, it's labeling.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, scrolling to it. I can label those in both documents.
Process would be if the board was inclined to approve these changes, the next thing staff would work with the department authority to come up with an ordinance to implement these changes. We introduce to the council and then that would be referred back to the board, to make sure that ordinance complies to with these changes that have been voted.
And
And after that is done, the department authority will bring an application as a courtesy review in front of the planning board.
That's a courtesy review. We can't require anything of that, correct?
We request. Just like with the parking authority when I was in the road, 600 parking lots over there. Township parking is a courtesy review, just like when the school district comes in, or the municipal, the wrong association, all of those. Courtesy review.
Well, I think. I remember someone came up with an idea of hanging aliens from those electrical stanchions, so this is definitely a better idea.
Yeah, another, section 5, that is missing in your this. Document.
Oh, it goes from section 4 to section
5,
6.
that was missing,
Yep.
and section 5.1 is not there.
No, it jumps from the labeling got screwed up. I can fix that as well. So it should go from 4.1 to 4.2 to 4.3 and then to section 5 and then section 6. I got overzealous with my section numbering.
Anybody have any other comments, issues? Right here, any other additions, comments, changes, amendments, anybody? Okay. Then I will, what am I gonna say? I'll entertain, I'm gonna do I guess I'll do these together, right?
Yeah.
Adoption of amendment to land use. I'll entertain a motion to accept the adoption amendment to land use element RP9 district and the Princeton redevelopment plan for RP9 district as amended, discussed and commented on and any changes.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Anna, second by Alan. Please call the roll.
Mr. Patel? Mr. Shechtel?
Yes.
Mr. Baig?
Yes.
Ms. Barry?
Yes.
Ms. Applegate?
Yes.
Councilman Whitfield?
Yes.
Mayor Marte?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hoberman?
Yes.
Chairman Carr?
Yes.
Thank you guys very much.
Carries.
So I do have a follow-up question.
Okay.
The land use plan element, page 4. It's not about the stuff, it's about the whole, David very nicely put out the full elements schedule and what's action on them. And my question is, stormwater management plan, is that coming before us in year 25?
So,
Okay,
yes, I keep it on as a place saver, so.
Okay.
hopefully, after we adopt that housing ordinance in July,
with what's going on with the affordable housing, are we going to then at some point revisit housing element and fair share plan?
you adopt it, might let you adopt it, the council will step up and adopt it.
It'll be a joint meeting like last time.
Okay.
Two
And then
separate meetings.
my final question on these type of issues is, to our master plan, there's an introduction and there's the goals, policies and summary
Mhm.
that hasn't been looked at in 23 years. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So every time we adopt these master plan elements, for example, like the land use plan, the housing element and fair share plans, circulation plan, utilities plan, we always have goals and policies listed in the beginning. Once we get all these documents adopted, and really our next hit list would be the housing element and fair share plan and the stormwater management plan, we would go back and adopt the introduction and redo the introduction and the
Okay.
goals and policy summary and essentially reiterate those goals and policies in that document. We can do it now. It's just have to update it
No,
each and every
that's
time.
fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to be forgotten. That's all I got.
Oh, that's only 3 years away. I might win the lottery by then, so we'll see.
So Sam, the next meeting is May 9th, you said?
May 7th.
May 7th.
May 7th, and it's going to be the subdivision and some the checklist ordinance. Remember, we had a work session here.
Yep.
Changes were made. It'll be introduced Monday night at council. We will refer back forward for May 7th. We'll go to the council in May for public hearing. And I have signed it.
Are we having a May 21st meeting or we don't, not sure yet?
Tentative. Probably will not be here, but tentatively, I didn't want to hold up the so they feel they can have a concept plan from the board.
Okay, I think I'll make that meeting, but the June meeting, if there's a meeting beginning of June, I won't make that.
June 4th right now is.
Okay, I definitely will not be available.
So there's no other meeting.
Yeah, talk to Michael.
Right? June the big thing. That's for the affordable house.
That makes sense.
Should we go into closed session again?
Okay, anybody, anything? Okay, meeting at, entertain motion, close the public hearing. Entertain motion, close the public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, meeting adjourned.
So. Did they reject your application? Yes. I know, but what's our number right now? Our number's 480, not 16.
And I think that's.
Okay.